Hey, welcome back to Michael Tells. Today's story is one of those quiet ones that sits with you long after it's over. A man whose wife asked him for a divorce, and then asked him to keep living with her. What happened next isn't what you'd expect. So get comfortable and just listen. Real quick before we start, the channel's been having a rough stretch with the numbers lately. If you've got a second, a like or even one word in the comments genuinely helps push this forward. No pressure, it just means a lot. Okay, let's get into it.
The day my wife asked me for a divorce, I said okay. And then, I swear, almost the same breath, she asked me if I'd keep living with her. Same house, same bed even at first. And the crazy part? The crazy part is I said okay to that too. My name's Barry Kessler. I'm 41, I fix air conditioners for a living, and I lived in Burleson, Texas, which is just south of Fort Worth. One of those towns that's half small and half turning into a Walmart. If you've ever been to Texas in August, you know the kind of heat I'm talking about. 104 in the shade. The air feels like a wet towel somebody's holding over your face, and everybody's AC picks that exact week to die. That's my busy season. That's when I make my money. I run service calls 14 hours a day in an attic that's 130 degrees, and I come down soaked through and I do it again at the next house. I say that because it matters. It matters to the story. I was gone a lot. And I told myself I was gone for her. Let me back up. Me and Layla met when we were 26, Fort Worth, at a friend's cookout. One of those things where you don't want to go, and then you meet the person who's going to change your whole life standing by the cooler pretending she likes light beer. She had this laugh. God, she had this laugh. It came out of her too loud for how quiet she was the rest of the time. And once you got that laugh out of her, you just wanted to keep doing it. I spent the whole night trying to make her laugh. I burned my hand on the grill showing off, and I didn't even feel it. We got married 2 years later. Little church, her mama cried. My brother gave a toast that went on too long. We bought a house, first a rental, then in 2020, and this is going to be important, I promise. In 2020, we bought a real house. 3 bedrooms, cul-de-sac, a backyard for the dog. We locked in this interest rate, 2.9%. 2.9. You could not pry a rate like that out of my cold, dead hands today. Remember that. It comes back around. We wanted kids. That was always the plan. The 2 extra bedrooms weren't for guests, you know what I mean. And we got pregnant, about year 4. And then we lost it. 16 weeks. Far enough along that we'd already told people. Far enough that we had a name. I'm not going to sit here and describe that. I don't have the words for it and I don't want them. But I'll tell you what it did. It didn't blow the marriage up. It would have been easier, almost, if it had blown up loud. What it did was quiet. It put this thin sheet of glass between me and Layla, and neither one of us knew how to break it, so we just lived on our own sides of it. She'd cry and I wouldn't know what to say, so I'd go fix something in the garage. I'd get quiet and she'd think I didn't care, when the truth is I cared so much I couldn't stand to look at it. And that's when I started working more. That's the honest truth. The overtime wasn't about money, not really. It was about having somewhere to be that wasn't that silent house. I told myself I was providing, building us a future. I was hiding. I was hiding from my own wife in an attic that was 130 degrees because it was somehow easier to be up there than down in that living room with her. 10 years of that. Slow. So slow you don't feel it happening. Like, you ever watch an AC unit go bad? It doesn't just quit. It runs a little rougher, a little louder, cools a little less, and you keep telling yourself, it's fine, it's got another summer in it. Until one day you come home and the house is 90 degrees inside and you realize the thing's been dying for 2 years and you just didn't want to hear it. That was us.
And I didn't want to hear it.
So, the day. It was a Tuesday. I remember because I'd had a light day, come home early for once, and Layla was sitting at the kitchen table with her hands folded on top of each other like she was in a waiting room. She had this look. I knew that look. I'd seen it on customers right before they tell me the repair's too much and they're just going to let the house cook till payday. Bad news face. She said, "Barry, sit down." And she told me she wanted a divorce. I'm not going to pretend I said something smart. I didn't. I think I said, okay. Just, okay. Like she'd told me she was going to run to the store. My whole body went cold and far away, and this little voice in the back of my head went, well, yeah, you've known. You've known for a while, Barry. You've just been up in the attic pretending you didn't. She started explaining. She'd thought about it a long time. It wasn't one thing. It was everything. It was the glass sheet. It was 10 years of me being a ghost in my own house. She wasn't crying, and that scared me more than crying would have. Crying means it's fresh. She wasn't crying because she'd done all her crying already, months ago, somewhere I wasn't. She'd grieved me already. I was late to my own funeral. And then, and this is the part nobody believes when I tell it, she took a breath and she said, "There's something else, and I need you to hear me all the way out before you say anything." And she laid it out, real calm, real practical, like she'd rehearsed it, and she probably had. She said, "We can't afford to separate. Not right now. Not really." She said, "You know what rent is right now, Barry? You priced a 1-bedroom lately?" And she was right, I hadn't, but I did later and it about knocked me over. She said if we sold the house, we'd walk away with a little, sure, but then we're each trying to rent something on half our income in a market that's gone insane, and we'd be giving up that rate, that 2.9, which you could not buy our own house back at what it'd cost today. She'd done the math. Layla always did the math. She had it on a legal pad. She showed me the legal pad. So her proposal was, we file. We do it for real. Legally, it's done. We're divorced. But we keep living in the house. Separate rooms, she'd already picked. She was taking the guest room, I'd keep the main. We split the bills like roommates. And we stay that way, civil, until the market shifts or we save enough or something changes, and then we sell and we each go. It's just practical, she said. That's all it is. I don't want it to be weird. I just don't want either of us to drown. And here's where I have to be honest with you, because this whole story falls apart if I'm not.
I heard all that. The math, the roommates, the separate rooms.
And you know what I actually heard? I heard a door left open. That's what I heard. I heard she's not making me leave. I heard she wants me close. Some dumb, hopeful, drowning part of me heard, this is a chance. She's staying under the same roof as me. People don't stay under the same roof as somebody they're all the way done with, right? Right? So I said, okay. I said, that's smart. That makes sense. Let's do that. And inside, I was already making a plan. Not a plan to move on, a plan to win her back. God help me.
Okay, hold on. Let me just say it. A plan to win her back? After she already filed? Part of me gets it. Part of me wants to shake him. Be honest in the comments. If your ex asked you to keep living together, are you saying yes or are you gone? I really want to know.
Now, I gotta tell you what those first weeks were like, because it wasn't dramatic. That's the thing nobody tells you. It was so ordinary, it hurt worse. We were polite. We were so polite. You want the last of the coffee? No, you go ahead. There's a package on the porch for you. We were roommates who used to be married, doing dishes around each other. And every night she'd go to the guest room and shut the door with this little soft click. And I'd lie in our bed, my bed now, and listen for that click. And it about killed me every single time. But I had my plan. Oh, I had my plan. See, all those years I was a ghost, I decided I was gonna unghost. I was gonna be the husband I should have been, and she was gonna see it, and she was gonna remember. So I started coming home on time, in August, in my season. I turned down overtime, which Dwayne, my boss, thought I'd lost my mind. I started cooking. I can't cook, but I learned. YouTube. I made her mama's chicken thing, the one with the rice. I texted her mama for the recipe and swore her to secrecy. I fixed everything in that house that'd been broke for years. The squeaky back door, the drawer that stuck, that flickering light in the hall she'd asked me about like 400 times. And it was working. Or I thought it was. She'd come home and there'd be dinner and she'd get this look, soft, almost sad, and she'd say, "Barry, you didn't have to do that." And I'd say, "I know." And for a second, the glass sheet would go thin. We'd sit on the back porch with the dog, Biscuit, our dog, this dopey shepherd mix who did not understand that mom and dad were divorced now. And we'd watch the sky do that pink Texas thing it does, and we'd talk. Really talk. Better than we had in years. Because there was nothing left to lose, I think. When you've already lost it, you stop performing. We talked about the baby, finally. First time in years. She told me things she'd been carrying I never knew. I told her about the attic, about hiding. We cried on that porch, both of us. And I thought, this is it. This is us finding our way back. This is the story where the guy fixes it. There was one night. I'll just say there was one night about 2 months in where the glass wasn't there at all. Where she reached for me and I reached for her and we didn't go to separate rooms. And in the morning, I woke up before her and I laid there looking at the ceiling of our bedroom and I was so happy I couldn't breathe. I thought it was over, the bad part. I thought we'd made it through the thing. She got up, she got dressed real quiet, and she sat on the edge of the bed with her back to me, and she said, "Barry, that can't happen again. I'm sorry. That was me being weak, and it wasn't fair to you." I said, "Lay, come on, you felt that." And she turned around and she had that waiting room face again, that folded hands calm, and she said, "Feeling it doesn't fix it. I felt it for years. Feeling it was never the problem." I didn't understand what she meant. I chose not to understand what she meant, because I didn't want to. The thing about hope, real hope, the drowning kind, is it's not your friend. Everybody tells you hope's a good thing. Hope will keep a man swimming toward a shore that isn't there till his arms give out. Hope had me reading things into every little thing she did. She kept a photo of us on her nightstand. Hope said, "See, she still loves you." She didn't. She just hadn't gotten around to moving it. She laughed at my joke. Hope said, "You're winning her back." She was just being kind to a man she felt sorry for.
Man, that line, feeling it was never the problem. That one hit me. Because he heard Hope, and she was telling him the truth the whole time. Have you ever done that? Read what you wanted to read instead of what was actually there? Stick with me because it's about to get worse.
Here's what I wasn't letting myself see. She'd started running. About a year before all this, actually, way before the divorce talk. Started with one of those Couch to 5K apps. Then she joined a group, ran with them Saturday mornings out at the trail by the lake. And I thought that was great. I did. She was getting healthy. She seemed happier, more herself. And I was too busy in my attic to think a single thought further than that. But the happier, more herself thing didn't start with the running. I know that now. I did the timeline later, when I was punishing myself, laying it all out like Layla in her legal pad. The change in her, the coming alive, it lined up with somebody, a person, from the group. I found out the dumbest way. Her phone lit up on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. I wasn't snooping. I want that on the record. I wasn't the kind of guy who... I just glanced. Reflex. And it was a text, and it was a first name I didn't know, and one word, and a little smiley face. That's it. Just morning and a smiley. But it was 6:15 in the morning, on a Sunday, and nobody sends a formerly married, a woman living with her ex-husband a morning with a smiley at 6:15 on a Sunday unless there's a whole world behind it you're not in. I put the phone down. I didn't say anything. I made coffee. My hands were shaking, and I made coffee like a normal person, and I set her cup out the way I always did, and I said good morning when she came out with her hair wet, and she smiled at me, and I smiled back. And inside, I was standing in a house that was 90 degrees and finally hearing the thing that'd been dying for 2 years. I didn't confront her, not right away. You want to know why? Because I was scared she'd say yes. As long as I didn't ask, I could still live in the version where I was wrong. Hope again. Hope, that lying dog, it followed me right up to the edge and would not let me look over. It went on another few weeks, me knowing and pretending I didn't, and being the perfect husband to a woman who was falling asleep texting somebody else down the hall. I'd hear her laugh through the guest room door. That laugh. The too loud one I used to burn my hand for. She was giving it to somebody else now, through a phone, 20 feet from me. And I'd lie in my bed and listen to it and just take it. Like a beating you decide to stand still for.
He knew. He knew, and he made her coffee and said good morning anyway. I don't even know what I'd do in that kitchen. Would you have said something right there, or gone quiet like Barry did? Drop a comment, seriously. This one's tearing me up.
The market shifted before I did. Isn't that something? All those weeks I spent being perfect, thinking I was buying time, and the whole time the clock was hers, not mine. A house 2 streets over sold way over asking. Our realtor friend, Layla's friend really, called all excited. Said if we listed now, we'd do great. We'd both walk away with real money, enough to start over clean. And I watched Layla's face when she got off that call. And it wasn't sad. It was relieved. It was the face of somebody who'd been holding their breath and finally got to let it out. The face of a woman who could finally go. That's when I knew for sure the arrangement was never a door left open. It was a waiting room. She'd been sitting in it the whole time, folded hands, waiting for the market to call her name so she could leave without either of us drowning. Just like she said. She told me exactly what it was on day 1. It's just practical. I'm the one who wrote a love story over the top of it. I finally asked her. Night before the house went live, I asked her flat out. I said his name. I'd learned it by then. And she didn't deny it. She didn't get defensive. She just got that calm again. And she said, yes. She said it started before the divorce, but nothing happened, not really. Not till after she wanted me to know that. Like it mattered, like the timeline was gonna save me any. She said she was sorry. She said, I never wanted to hurt you, Barry. That's why I did it this way. I thought if we could just be civil and careful, we could both come out the other side okay. And I said, Lay, you asked me to keep living here. And she looked at me, and I'll never forget this. She looked genuinely confused for a second. And she said, because we couldn't afford not to. That was it. That was the whole thing. To her, it really was just the math, the legal pad. She never once thought I might hear it the way I heard it, She never imagined I'd spend those months trying to win back a woman who'd been gone since before I even knew there was a race. I'd been playing a game the other guy had already finished. I lost it in the first quarter and kept running plays for months after the lights went out.
We're almost at the end, and there's one line coming that I can't stop thinking about. Before it hits, if this story's got you feeling something, a like or a comment genuinely helps the channel keep going. All right, let's finish it.
The house sold in 9 days. Moving day was in October. It cooled off some, finally. One of those first days where Texas remembers it's not the surface of the sun. I loaded my truck. Wasn't much. Turns out 14 years of a life is a couple carloads and a lot of stuff you just leave. She'd already found her place. I didn't ask if it was his. I didn't have to. I knew from the boxes. There weren't enough of them. She wasn't setting up a home alone. Nobody moves into an empty apartment with that few boxes. Biscuit. I got Biscuit. That was the one thing. She started to say something about the dog, and I just looked at her, and she stopped and said, "Yeah, okay, he's yours." So I got the dog. I tell people that like it's a win. At least I got the dog, like the dog's a trophy. He's not. He's just the last warm thing from a house that isn't mine anymore. I rent a room now. Little place, above a fella's garage, out past the county line. I put the AC in it myself. Course I did. Coldest little room in Texas. I keep it at 68 just 'cause I can. Just 'cause it's mine and nobody's gonna reach over and turn it up. Biscuit sleeps on the floor by the bed. Some nights, I still wake up at like 3 and listen for that little soft click of the guest room door. Ain't no door. Ain't no her. Just the AC humming and the dog breathing and me lying there, 41 years old in a stranger's garage. You want to know the part that eats me? It's not that she left. People leave. I even get why she left. I do. I was a ghost. I earned a lot of it. It's not even the other guy. He can have her. I mean that ugly and I mean it true. It's that she told me. Day one. She sat me down and she told me exactly what it was, in plain words, with a legal pad, and I looked at that woman I loved and I decided I knew better than her what she meant. She showed me who she was. Done, gone, practical. And I said, no, that's not you. The real you wants me. The real you's just scared. She wasn't scared. She was just done. And I spent the best, kindest, most present months of my whole marriage on a woman who'd already checked the box because I could not stand to believe her.
So here's the only thing I got out of it, and I'm gonna give it to you for free, so maybe it costs you less than it cost me. When somebody shows you they're leaving, when they say the words, calm, no crying, hands folded, believe them the first time. Don't write your story over the top of theirs. Don't let hope talk you into swimming for a shore that packed up and left. The day a person decides to go, they're already gone. Everything after that is just paperwork. I still keep that room at 68, coldest little room in Texas. Some things you can fix. Turns out a marriage was never one of them. Not for a man who only knew how to fix the easy stuff, the stuff up in the attic, the stuff nobody's looking at. Anyway, that's it. That's the whole thing. Come here, Biscuit. Good boy. Good boy.
Man, that last line, the day a person decides to go, they're already gone. Everything after that is just paperwork. That's going to sit with me for a while. You know what gets me? Barry wasn't a bad husband. He was just a late one. He finally showed up after she'd already left. And maybe that's the real lesson. Don't wait until you're losing someone to become the person they needed all along. If this one moved you, do me a favor. Drop a like, tell me in the comments what you'd have done in Barry's shoes, and subscribe so you don't miss the next story. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of each other.